I'm Shelley Preston and I'm tutor of chocolate making here at the School of Artisan Food. And today we're going to make lots of lovely chocolate recipes that you can make at home. We're going to make hand-poured chocolate bars and hand-rolled truffles so that you can have perfect results every time. Tempering chocolate is a really important part of the chocolate making process. If we would like to melt down tempered chocolate to a liquid form so that we can reshape it to make a chocolate bar or enrobe truffles or hand dip individual ganache squares, it has to go through a process of tempering. And basically what we're doing is melting down the chocolate until it becomes liquid and then allowing it to set in a time frame in order for the crystal formulation to lock into place. And this is a very simple way of doing it that we're going to show you. It's called the microwave method. There are many other methods of tempering chocolate, but this is one of the most simplest ways, and it's the way that we still use it in our business today. A few things to be mindful of when you're tempering chocolate in the microwave. If you have your microwave on full power, so in this case we've got 900 watts, and if you melt your chocolate in the microwave at 30-second intervals, you can't really go wrong, and it's almost impossible really to burn the chocolate. So we're going to start that process now. Our first 30 seconds is up. One of the reasons I wanted to show you this method in a glass bowl today is to show you what's happening on the inside. On the first stir, there's no real melting of the chocolate, but it is very warm on the inside. And so all I'm doing at this point is just distributing the heat so it doesn't create some intense heat right in the middle there. When you're tempering chocolate at home, you may want to use a plastic bowl, because if you use ceramic and glass, they have a propensity to really heat up and overheat your chocolate, and they don't let the heat out as well as a plastic bowl would. So I definitely advise using plastic at home. Second 30 seconds. So on the second 30-second interval, as you can see now, the chocolate has started to melt, so you get that sort of glossy melting chocolate. And again, this is why it's very, very important to stir at this stage, because you're distributing the heat. And what we don't want is for the melted chocolate to get hotter and hotter and hotter, that it becomes too hot and burns the chocolate. So this is our fourth 30-second interval in the microwave, and as you can see now, the chocolate's becoming very loose and there's quite a bit of heat in there. So before I pop it back in the microwave, I'm just going to very, very gently stir. Now, if any of you have ever seeded chocolate by bain-marie method or various other methods, you'll know that you heat the chocolate to around 50 degrees and then add a third of your chocolate in to cool the chocolate down. And why this is a very simple way, and why it's a method that I like, it's very, very easy to do at home. It's kind of an all-in-one method. You don't have to add any chocolate, you don't have to use the bain-marie where you've got risk of water and moisture entering into the chocolate, which is very bad for chocolate because it makes it seize, and you can't work with chocolate if it's got any moisture in it whatsoever. So what this is doing, in a way, it's sort of self-seeding the chocolate. And seeding chocolate is cooling chocolate down. So the melted chocolate in this bowl is at really quite a high temperature, and the unmelted chocolate is going to melt into it very naturally and very gradually to cool it down within a time frame that the chocolate needs to do that. Little tip, whether you have a glass bowl or a plastic bowl, if you cup your hands around it and actually use this part of your fingers, the back of your fingers, to test the heat under the bowl, it gives you a guide of if the chocolate's going to naturally melt on its own without any heat. Chocolate melts at body temperature, so if the bottom of the bowl feels very warm or just warmer than your fingers, there's probably enough heat in here to naturally melt the chocolate. The bottom of the bowl feels cold, you probably need to put a little bit of heat in there. So it's a very simple way of testing what your chocolate actually needs. Our chocolate is now at probably the perfect working temperature. But before we start to mould our chocolate bars or enrobe our truffles, we just need to do one last check. So the way that we do that is by doing a knife test. And what we do, we put the knife into the chocolate, tap off the excess, and set the knife to one side and wait to see what happens within 5 minutes. It's important when you're doing this that your ambient temperature, so your working temperature, is between 18 and 21 degrees. If the room is too cold, your chocolate will set too quickly and it will contract and it might not have the finish that you want. If the temperature is above 21 degrees, going up towards 22 degrees, the chocolate will not want to set within 5 minutes. If chocolate doesn't set within 5 minutes, it's out of its tempering zone and you're not going to get the lovely finish we desire. So now I'm going to look at my knife. We've had it set to one side for about 2 minutes and I can already see that this is set perfectly. If I touch it, I don't leave a finger imprint, which is quite important. And if I hold it up to the light, it's got a beautiful soft sheen. So I know here that we have perfectly tempered chocolate. In the 2-minute process, don't worry about your chocolate setting in your bowl. Chocolate is a very good self-insulator. So it will pretty much stay the same temperature in the middle of the bowl. But what you'll notice is the chocolate will start to set on the outsides of your bowl first. So there's one very specific rule. You don't need to add any more heat to chocolate unless it's setting on the outside of the bowl. And the way that we do that is by using a heat gun. This is a standard heat gun you can get from any DIY store. You can also use a clean hairdryer. Hairdryers will tend to have more of a blow effect and less heat. So I'm just going to demonstrate how to keep your chocolate at the same temperature for hours and hours and hours. So if you just apply a tiny bit of heat, almost directly to the outsides of the bowl, just where it's starting to set, what we're not doing is adding any heat into the middle. It's very important to keep this bowl lubricant because as you stir, we definitely don't want to be stirring any brittle, dry and set bits of chocolate into our lovely liquid pool. So the intensity of the heated chocolate on the outside melts back into the tempered chocolate, keeping everything the same temperature the whole time. Beautiful working temperature, which is going to give you that lovely finish and fantastic chocolate bars, and you'll get perfect results every time.